you know, when you start, you see the time ticking by. You're like, oh, I got plenty of time to finish this. Then you look up from your text and you realize, oh, I should be live right now. So I'm going to do a horrible thing. I'm going to go live right now while I'm finishing one last message to the D&D group. He wants to split um, character creation and campaign into 2 days. Let me know how this works for you all. Okay, so Vince McLean is here, or Vince McLean was here making a comment. He just got a haul himself. I actually don't have a huge haul. Usually I've got like, here's one eBay purchase, here's 3 things I bought from the community, here's an AOK, and here's what I got from the comic book shop. Today I just have one box, but it's a pretty significant box. And first of all, this is from Mr. Q Comics, and shout out Mr. Q Comics. Check him out on Instagram. He's got a lot of stuff that he sells on eBay. He shows pictures of on IG. I did one of those things. Awesome, Vince. I did one of those things where I put out a list like saying, these are the Star Wars comics I needed. And, you know, you're hoping that people you know in the community that will help you out, reach out. A lot of the messages I get back when I do that are like, hey, check out our store. We have everything you want. I'm like, hey, I'm looking to buy from the community, which is loosely defined as like people who don't own a store. You know, sometimes it could be people who own a store. Sometimes the community just goes crazy and charges ridiculous amounts. But what I'm looking for is somebody who is going to try to offer me a fair deal. I don't want like, you know, steal your comics, but I want a fair deal when I put up one of those requests in one of those lists. So Mr. Q reached out and he literally took pictures of every comic he had on my list and said, this is the condition, and sent me pictures of every single one, which was like, blew me away. That was amazing. So we came to a deal. Afternoon, Nola. I just put a message on our D&D message list in IG a second ago. Vince, no, I should, but I don't, and probably won't, just because the thought of cataloging all my comics is crazy. If I ever finish cleaning my comic room and building more shelving and I have them all easily accessible, I will do that. Right now, I'm just not there. So Mr. Q reached out, sent me pictures of everything, and then I typed back what I thought was a little bit of an under price, and I figured he would go up here and then we would be here. He accepted my price, and I was like, okay, you're awesome. So really, really awesome guy. And these, you know, ironically enough, giving yesterday's news, are Star Wars comics. The originals is what I was trying to complete. So I'm always on the lookout for Star Wars comics. I was specifically trying to fill out my original series run from 1977. Yeah, it would be fun if I had organization to do it right. Otherwise, I would lose track of what I'd already done, and I'd be making a bigger mess. So beautifully bubble wrapped, beautifully packaged. Beautiful padding and extra stuff. I mean, this is a really well done box. And then a note, and we all love the notes. Tacoma, thanks so much for the purchases. I threw in a few extra books. Hopefully you don't have them all. Hope you and your family have a happy and healthy holiday season. Boom, right there. Really nice to get a little note. And it's just always, I always try to write on my boxes when I send stuff. More packaging. And then these were what were bubble wrapped, but there were 2 packs of comics. Each of them was bubble wrapped. So obviously I've already undone this box because I didn't want to spend forever. It was extremely well packaged and wrapped, but that also means that it took a while to undo, because anything that's worth doing is worth undoing. So just to show you, he even did the cardboard around the outsides, because if you ever ship something in a box like this, the box is just a little bit too wide for comics. They do tend to swim. A good word. I usually just put bubble wrap on one side and push them all to the edge. but this is probably a better way of doing it. So, and he even, and this is actually what I think is most important, he even did them back to front so that the spines aren't all lined up on each other. So I'm going to quickly undo that. But I thought that was so cool because to me, if you order like 30, 40 comics in one of these medium priority boxes and they are all facing the same way, you do tend to put stress on the spines. They tend to, after like 20 comics, they don't lay flat. They lay a little bit on an angle. So I really appreciate when people do this. All right, so first, these were at the top. So I'm going to start with the extras that he sent me. He sent me this cool variant to Dark Knight Metals #6. He sent me this Indiana Jones #1, which I don't have. That's definitely a keeper. Really love that. I'm not a Vampirella fan. That's a really cool Vampirella cover. That will most definitely be for sale in one of my auctions. I have several copies of this one, so this will probably go into an X-Men pack. And then I don't know much about this one, but it's the #1, World of Krypton, 40 centers. So I guess that's Copper Age, right? 70s and 80s, or late 70s and 80s is Copper Age. I think I get confused with all the metal. And then this is what I bought from him. Issue 4. So I have 1, 2, and 4. I need to replace 3. I had a 3 that was signed by Thomas and Shaken, and I sold it by accident. So I need to replace 3, but I've now got 4 and 5. And I mean, these are in really nice condition, right? So there's a few ticks you can see. I should hold that the other way. In the blue there, and this was one of the worst ones, right? But most of these, probably 8 O's and 8 5s. 5, 10, 11, 12, 15. I love how sometimes in space they use helmets and sometimes they don't. Apparently you don't need a full body covering. You just need a helmet to breathe. 21. Great covers. Right, so that's half of it. Excuse me. I don't know where my voice went. And that was half of it that I thought was really cool. And then the second half of it, again, back to front. So I'm going to flip them around. I had already taken them out and flipped them around, but then I flipped them back to the back to front just to show you how he shipped them, because I thought it was really darn cool how he shipped them. DS, I need all of the dark, no, not all of them. I actually have 3 short boxes or 2 short boxes full of Dark Horse, but I sure do want a lot more. I'm working on like 6 or 7 runs. I still have a $15 credit with you I haven't forgotten about. So hit me up with what you got and we can definitely make a deal. Here's the second half. So this time they're in space without a helmet because, you know, helmets are just if you need them for the art. They're not really, you know, it's Star Wars. You don't have to have things that make sense scientifically. So there's 22. Nola, I am working on a video to go with all the new announcements, what to get, what not to get, what is a key but really a horrible read, what's a key, you know, not a key but a great read you should get anyway. 39. I love this one. Was that Empire? No, this is Empire right here. Right? What does that say at the bottom? No, this is the first Empire, beginning the official adaptation of the most eagerly awaited space fantasy of all, The Empire Strikes Back. Boom. So we got the Empire issues, 2 of the Empire issues. Then we bump up to 70, 71, 84, which is a really kind of cool cover. 85, 88, which is also a cool cover. And then 92, which is a phenomenal cover. This is Bill Sienkiewicz work. I mean, you compare this with the rest of them, right? And even though Luke, it looks a little cartoony or maybe not perfect line, but like the overall impression here is just phenomenal. Hey, Sam. 93. And then this classic one. It's a woman who drew this, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
but I just think it's a cool cover. Very cool. Thank you, Sam. Hello. So let's go back. So I had the whole Jedi versus Sith run 1 through 6, and I think I sold that to Jeff Silversmith. I still have another copy, 1, 2, 3, and 5, or 1, 2, 5, and 6. So I definitely need to finish that run, but I've got the big expensive #1 book. Tales of the Jedi, though, I only have a few, and I would love to get more. Like I said, getting lists together is so hard, and plus the Dark Horse Star Wars that came out in 1998, they titled each arc, so it looks like it's Star Wars Republic or Star Wars Empire or Star Wars Infinity, but it is actually still all part of the Star Wars run. So like issue 45 might say Infinity 2, but it also says 45. So it's part of the run, but they actually numbered the arcs on the cover, which can get confusing when you're collecting that run. Then they did the color reprints, then they did the classics, then they did the 30-year reprints. There's a lot of crazy stuff. So Vince, I've never claimed to be that smart or intelligent. I tend to like to collect runs. I think there's a bug. I think it's a character quirk of myself. I feel that need to complete something. I hate to say that I've got just these, but not all of them. I don't know why. Maybe it's because when I collected comics, it was, back in the 80s when the X-Men were in the mid 100s, the Avengers were in the 200s, Fantastic Four were in the mid 200s. I'm used to like longer runs of things. There are some things I'm just collecting keys, and there are some Star Wars runs that I'll probably just collect keys of. But I usually like to get, the entire set. I like to have a set. My favorite comic, Miss Marvel from 2014, I have every single reprint issue, later printing variant for the whole thing, just because that's the way I am. So it makes it harder. I don't know that it's more fulfilling at the end, but at least I can say I have them all. I don't know that I'm going to get Canadian price variants on Star Wars #1. That might be pushing it, but I do like to have sets. So that's why I kind of go for the runs. It just feels nicer to be like, I just need issue 33 and 34. Plus, if you do want to go practical, you don't know at this point what is going to be the next hot Star Wars comic, because there are many hot Star Wars comics. There's so much unknown, and that Nola is going to be part of the video that I want to make, is like Acolyte. It's about the fall of the old Republic, not the High Republic, and how the Sith started gaining power. So who's going to show up in that? Gosh darn if I know, right? So you've got to start now looking at your timelines. You've got to look at your canon timeline versus your legacy timeline. You got to figure out, well, there isn't a lot of canon books. It is, Vince, but it's fun too. There's fun in that insanity, fun sanity. Yeah, I don't know. The heir to the Empire is, I guess, what most people are going with the first appearance of Thrawn. Legacy versus canon is a big thing. Timelines are a big thing. Understanding the timelines. Okay, this was the High Republic, but then there is, that kind of fell, but then it became the regular Republic. I'm not positive that I've got this right. So the New Republic is what was established after Return of the Jedi. Okay. I'm just going to screenshot that DS and I'll get back to you. If y'all don't know DS Comics, he is local to me, a great guy, great seller, mainly an IG seller. But always good with the price, because I can go meet him and give him cash. Always good with the cash. I just screenshotted that DS. I'll definitely get back to you for sure. So the New Republic is what was established after Return of the Jedi, right? And it's kind of what we see taking root in the Mandalorian. They're trying to establish themselves as the New Republic. And so, Cara Dune gets her badge and she now is the sheriff of that town, or the administrator. It's you got the X-Wing pilots chasing after Mando, but letting him go. Just because it's they're like, well, you did a good thing capturing this guy, so go get your ship registered. Not blown up, but registered. So that's the New Republic for sure. It's what we see post Jedi. And I really think the unsung hero of the Marvel comics is Shattered Empire. Like, that is exactly picks up right after the Battle of Endor. And I think should be required reading. It just didn't become popular for whatever reason. But I really, really like Shattered Empire. So you got Shattered, you've got the New Republic, and then there's the Old Republic and the High Republic. And this is where I need to do more research myself to make sure that I'm saying it right. My understanding is that the High Republic is when the Jedi were like 10,000 strong and the Sith were not even a twinkle in Daddy's eye. The Sith were just starting, and so that goes back. The High Republic goes back like 10,000 years in Star Wars timeline canon. The way that Star Wars dates things is BBY and ABY. BBY is before the Battle of Yavin, which is if I give Endor was Return, Yavin was the fourth moon of Yavin is where the rebels had their base in A New Hope. So anything taking BBY is years before New Hope, just like we would use BC or BCE if you prefer, before the Common Era, and ABY is after the Battle of Yavin. So, for example, Mandalorian takes place, I believe, in 7 or 9 ABY, so 7 years after the Battle of Yavin, right? So between New Hope and Return of the Jedi, I think we're only looking at like a year timeline or something like that. So, we're not going too far forward. The High Republic is like 1,000 years before that. That then, once the Sith became powerful, the Jedi numbers dropped, but then eventually the Sith were pushed down again. And the Sith were pushed down again, and what happened? And then you saw what you saw in the prequels, which I think is considered the Old Republic, but not the High Republic, if that makes sense, right? So it's still the same thing, but now the Sith have been pushed away. I don't think they call themselves the Old Republic. They just call themselves the Galactic Republic, but that's what we refer to as the Old Republic versus the High Republic. The High Republic was kind of like the pinnacle of like happiness and good times and Jedi power. And that kind of falls down, and you start to see the cracks forming in the prequels when the Sith are starting to come back, and they're like, the Sith? Funny, this guy here, this Palpatine, doesn't look anything like that Sidious guy, even though they have the same exact voice and just one's wearing a dark hood. And so that's the Old Republic, and then that falls, and then you've got the time of Empire, and then once the Empire falls, you've got the New Republic. Somebody should double check me on that because I'm not positive. DS, I literally was going to go and end this stream and head over to the card shop on 6th Avenue because they have Shadow of Empire. I was going to go buy issue 1. You've got issue 2 with Boba Fett in the cover. I want that. I want that one right away. The other stuff I've got to go and check to see what I have. I think I have Dark Empire. I don't know if I've got. I think I need those Rogue Squadron, but I'll hit you up on IG and let you know for sure. Okay. And Flash by Night, I'm going to do a video. I'm actually going to spend some time researching it. It'll be an edited video, but it will be my attempt in this kind of casual way. It won't have fancy graphics, super serious, but it'll be my attempt to kind of break down where all these shows fit on an actual Star Wars timeline. And it won't be like a super spec video, buy this book, buy this book, buy this book, but it'll be more like these books connect here with this. This might be an interesting character to look at. I mean, honestly, if you want to buy a book, go buy Darth Vader #3. Dr. Aphra wasn't mentioned at all. You're going to see other books skyrocket. You're going to see Dr. Aphra, I think, stay flat, maybe take a little bit of a dip under that $100 mark for a little while, especially if you look like 3 or 4 months from now, because everybody will be spending their money on other things. I still think that if you're in the spec game, Dr. Aphra is the one to go for. Even Savaggio Press, I finally ordered my first Savaggio Press, but that #1's a beautiful comic. That whole run is amazing, right? You know, we talk about keys, but we have to remember there's just some really great comics out there, and I'm going to highlight, to the extent that I can, the great storylines that may never be part of a TV series or a movie. All right. That having been said, I am going to go out and buy a comic now. Have some lunch with the kids, and then I've got one more class to teach this afternoon. And then I'll be on, I'm trying to bank some money, probably to buy Star Wars comics, to be honest with you. Gosh, finishing that X-Men run felt so liberating, but right when it was done, you're like, I'm going to go, I'm going to go right to another run. Yeah, Flash by Night, it really is broad. And, you know, when you take in the video game higher as well as the old novels, the legacy comics, and now the new stuff that's coming out, it's massive. But yeah, I'm on Who Dat's auction most of this evening. Like, I guess it's 6 to 9 his time. What's up, Book Hermit? Unfortunately, I'm just winding down, my friend. So we've got that, and then I'll have Beyond Saturday Morning Cartoon Crew tomorrow morning. I may even try to get on auction Sunday. I'm trying to just like move 2 short boxes full of books home so that I can clear the way for just clear the room, put some cash in the cash app so I can start buying some bigger purchases that I've been talking about. You know, my spending kind of goes like this, like buy all these little books, have too many books, sell all these little books, build up my, Cash App, PayPal, buy a couple big books, and then all gone again. So poor man, timing is everything, my friend. And unfortunately, you didn't get the timing right today, because I am out of here. I'm actually going to go eat some lunch, buy a comic book, come back and teach my last class, and then be done for the day, and then sell some comic books tonight and tomorrow and whenever. Alrighty. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. I really appreciate the support. Getting 6 people in the middle of the day for a video that I only posted about this morning is pretty awesome. I will see you all later. Go and revel in the announcements and the news and the Marvel and the Star Wars and the trailers and the Twitter spec and everything. It is so worth it. Peace.